We will start by reciting the Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So today, the 6th Vassa. The 6th Vassa is in Makula mountain. So it doesn't mention any particular suttas delivered in Makula mountain. There will be mountain monastery, there will be devotees there. But the Buddha may explain many Dhamma talks many times to devotees. Since it doesn't mention what kind of discourse, we can understand it will be only Anupupikata, Dana, Sila, etc. So from time to time, the Buddha may talk about Four Noble Truths, Samukhansika Desana. Then, although we don't have any particular discourse delivered in Makula mountain, we have some connected suttas with Makula mountain. That is one bhikkhu from that area. His name is Venerable Mahabuna. So yesterday I have talked about Mandani Buddha, Buna. This is another Buna. This is another Buna, Mahabuna. So that's why sometimes when we read the suttas, many similar names. So Venerable Buna had a younger brother called Chula Buna. So on their business trip to Savatthi, they met the Buddha and the elder brother, listening to Buddha discourses, gained very strong faith and ordained in Savatthi. His younger brother left him. So he also had to learn many things from the Buddhas. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, he studied. So actually after second Vassa, the Buddha arrived at Savatthi, right? So 3 years ago, he arrived at Savatthi and he studied meditations and dhammas under the Buddhas. Then one day, he wished to go back his native country. The country is called Sunabranda. In that area, there was not really good people. Almost all the people are very bad and very rude and cruel. Then he requested the Buddha, Venerable Sir, please give me a short order. Then I will practice diligently for the rest of my life. I wish to go back my native country. Then the Buddha explained him a short discourse about sensual pleasure. It will be easier to say about 12 bases. We can also understand 80 element method. For example, there's the eye translucency. There will be color, visible object or designable object. Then there will be eye consciousness. So when we have attachment to designable object, it can be the cause of suffering. The Buddha explained. Okay, here one more thing. The reasons of rising greed or lobha. We can roughly understand it must be designable object. Second one, we also accept as a designable object. The third one, unwise attention. Then there will be greed. Sometimes, although it was desirable object, our mind is not ready to accept as a desirable object. It cannot be greed. Then sometimes it's a desirable object, we also know it's a desirable object, but we have wise attention. It cannot, lobha cannot arise. So when lobha can arise, it can be the cause of suffering. We may make some action, then that action will cause some difficulty, and also if we have to live on in the future, there will be suffering again. So here the Buddha mentioned there was untranscendency, there's also desirable object, there's unconsciousness. If we have attachment, when we see something, then it can be the cause of suffering. Similarly, you have transcendency, then we also have desirable audible objects, then we also have ear consciousness. When we have attachment to the sound, beautiful sound, then there will be the cause of suffering. Similarly, nose, smell, and unwise attention, unconsciousness, so nose consciousness. Tongue transcendency, and flavor, and tongue consciousness. Tangible objects, then body transcendency, and body consciousness. Then mind object, then mind-o, finally, mind-o meta process, that it can be the cause of, if there's dosa arise, it can be the cause of suffering. So first the Buddha mentioned the cause of suffering. Then the Buddha also explained the cessations of suffering. Especially when Arhat see desirable object, they have wise attention. That is why no lobha arises. That means they can change their mind easily according to the object. For example, desirable visible object. When seeing a desirable visible object, or for example beautiful things, even as living things, they were trying to discern 32 body parts or repulsiveness meditation. If we know living things as repulsiveness, we may not have attachment. Then if we see if we see non-living things, especially if Arhat and Arhats see non-living desirable objects, then they can discern 4 elements. Understanding 4 elements in the desirable object, they can overcome all kind of attachment. Naturally, Arhat had already eradicated defilements. That's why they can change their mind very easily. Similarly, sound, smell, taste, touch, and thinking process. They can change their mind. Desirable as undesirable, undesirable as desirable. By paying attention to different types of perception, asubha, 4 elements, and so on. That is why they have very strong equanimity towards all the desirable or undesirable objects. Although they saw or they see undesirable objects, no anger. The same, they will pay attention as for the living thing as repulsiveness, then no anger arises. Non-living thing as 4 elements, then no anger may arise. So especially noble person, not only Arhat, noble person have that kind of perception, they can overcome defilement within short time. So now in the case of Venerable Mahabuna, he hadn't taken any path and fruition knowledge. That's why the Buddha had to explain that one. So that means if you have untranscendency, also you see desirable objects, unconsciousness arise, but if you don't have any attachments, it can be for the cessations of suffering. The Buddha explained again. So this is also a kind of meditation method. Talk to Venerable Buddha. So in this context, we can understand that Venerable Mahabodha had very weak and very strong delusion in Nama and Rupa both. That's when the Buddha explained 80 elements method. Buddha also mentioned eye translucency, ear translucency, all the rupas in detail. Buddha also mentioned color, smell, taste, touch, tangible objects. Also, this also external basis, external rupas. Then the Buddha also explained eye consciousness, ear consciousness, all the consciousness. This is Nama. So when the meditator has very strong delusion in both ultimate mentalities and materialities, the Buddha explains 80 elements method. So now the Buddha explained 80 elements method for Venerable Buddha. Then he also wished to practice diligently, so he wanted to also live in his native village. When he requested the Buddha to allow him to leave for his native city or native town, the Buddha asked him, Buddha, people of Sunaparantas are very rude and cruel. If they scold and abuse you, what will you do? This is only bhava action. Then Venerable Buddha replied, people of Sunaparantas are very kind to me. It is acceptable for me. They just scold and abuse me, but they don't hurt me with their hands. Then this is his patience. The hamstrung his candy. So when some people scold or abuse us, this means they cannot touch our body, just verbally, very far from body. It's not that much harmful. Maybe if we can keep in our mind, it will be very harmful. As long as we don't keep anything in our minds, not that much harmful. This is the meaning of kanti. Many people say, if we translate kanti as a tolerance or patience, it's a little difficult to understand. That means kanti means make your mind free. Don't keep any anger in your mind. Whatever people say or talks to you, whatever thing they have done to you, that means this is called kanti. We call it Adivasana kanti. We fully forgive, forget everything. This is called kanti. We call it Adivasana kanti. So freedom of mind. So mind is free from any undesirable things. We have one example. The Myanmar tradition, we say that one. Descendant first, left ear, go out right ear. Okay, that kind of kacha, right? Just listen with the right ear, just go out left ear. Don't keep anything in the mind. That is called kanti. So mind is free. We have very strong kanti like that. Then again, if people also not branda hurt you with their hands, what will you do? Then Venerable Buddha replied again. Venerable Sir, people of Sunaparanta are very kind to me, but they just hurt me with their hands, but they don't use any stick, any rods to hit me. So compared to hands, using stick is stronger. Then when he talked to the Buddha, when he replied like that, the Buddha also asked another question. If they hurt you with a stick or rods, what will you do? Then he replied again, people of Sunaparantas are very kind. They just use their stick and they just hurt me with a stick. But they don't use any other weapon like a knife. Then We can also understand another way, using stone, hit, using arrow, hit, using sword, knife, so it will be more harmful. Then the Buddha also asks again, if they hurt you with weapon, what will you do? Then the Buddha, when he say like that, he replied, Venerable Sir, although they use weapon, they don't kill me. This is his kanti. So we also have kanti barami. Right? We also have kanti barami. We have very limited kanti barami compared to that kind of people. So what is our limitation? If we have many limitations, then our kanti barami become weaker and weaker. If we don't have any limitation, it will be stronger. Up to which states we may have kanti? For example, now according to his condition, using stick, stone, very harmful for him. This is a very stand-up kanti, not very strong yet. Now they will cut hands or something like that. This is also called kanti. This is actually median kanti. Now here, the last one. The Buddha said, if they kill you, what will you do? Then he thought, he also replies, Venerable Sir, there are many bhikkhus who practice repositiveness meditation. After practicing, they feel disgusting in their body. They have very little attachment to their body. Then finally they commit suicide. That kind of thing happened at the time of the Buddha. They don't want to live anymore. They commit suicide. So compared to them, I don't need to make any effort to commit suicide. They just kill me. So here we can also understand he practiced Asubha meditation. He may practice metta meditation. So we have 4 protective meditation. When we have no faith, when we lost our confidence, we can do Buddhanussati. We can gain the faith again. Then, second thing, when we have a lot of attachment to living things, especially living things, we can do Asubha. So by discerning repositiveness meditation, then we have less attachment. When we have very strong anger, we can do metta. This is also protective meditation. The last one, when we have many plans and projects, like future plans and projects, we have to do recollection of death. If we know that we were dying tonight, we will not be busy. If we know that we were dying in 1 week, we will not be busy with any other thing. So we also have one traditional saying: when you are going to earn money, you have to work as if you will never die. When you are going to meditate, you must meditate as if you are dying today or tomorrow. That's traditional saying. So now anyway, he had very strong kanti, very strong patience. That means his ultimate kanti, not ordinary state of patience. So one more thing, without metta, there cannot be kanti. So metta and kanti are like a head and tail. What about the head go, the tail will follow. Similarly, sometimes metta leads kanti. Sometimes kanti leads metta. They have a relationship like that. So he had very strong kanti. The Buddha also recognized that he could attain, but in future not like that. In Buddha's teaching also, Buddha himself also mentioned about kanti. Unfortunately, this time I cannot talk about Venerable Devadatta. Right? Actually, it will be after 10 Vassa. Now, I hope only up to 7 Vassa. Now 6 Vassa already. Right? Anyway, so Venerable Devadatta requested the Buddha. One of the requests, the Buddha should lay down the rules for the bhikkhus. The bhikkhu must not live in the forest, must not live in village monastery. May all the bhikkhus live in the forest monastery. Then the Buddha rejected. The Buddha knew that it's not very easy for all the bhikkhus. We have different bodily strengths and mental strengths. Bodily strength means body energy, health. Mental strength means kanti. How strong our kanti? So, those who have very strong bodily strength, then they are very healthy. They also have very strong kanti, patience or forbearance. Whether they live in the forest monastery or in the village monastery or city monastery, they can attain by the Krishna knowledge. Their mind power is strong. Although many sound disturb him, no problem. Very strong kanti. Then the next type. There was somebody who had a very strong bodily strength, very healthy, but no kanti. For them, they should live in the forest monastery. In the village or in the city, it will be noisy, impatient, cannot improve anymore. Even very small noise, complain a lot. Mentally complain, then cannot improve anymore. We also need that kind of kanti. Even small things like a mosquito bites, maybe heat, cold, thirsty, hungry, everything, we must have kanti. Otherwise, we cannot meditate very well. Then the next type, those who have very strong mental strength, very strong kanti, but not very healthy. For them, village monastery is suitable. So if they live in village monastery, they can get enough supporting, then they can maintain their body, then they could improve. If we don't have both, mental energy or body energy, body also sick, mentally also impatient, wherever we live, impossible to attain anything. So here, the main point is patience. He has very strong patience. Whether he live in the forest or in the village is possible. Then his body strength is also strong. So the Buddha allowed him to spend his time in his native town. He left. At the very Vassa, he could practice very well. He attained headship. Then he also had 500 devotees. So maybe when Buddha was spending Vassa in Vesali, he left maybe. After coming back from Vesali, Buddha came to Rajaka. After the Buddha will visit Savatthi. At that time he left. Then after the Vassa, at that time the Buddha was spending Vassa in Vesali, he was spending in Makula, Sunapranda, his native town. So his devotee requested him to invite the Buddha. So he invited the Buddha to his place. Buddha also spent Vassa there. Then it became one of the place. Anyway, the Buddha spent there one Vassa there, but just general Dhamma talk. We don't have any special discourse there. After that, the Buddha went back to Savatthi, Rajagaha, and many other places after Vassa. Not very long after Buddha's departure, Venerable Mahabuna also entered Nirvana. Okay, now, In brief, in the 6th Vassa, the Buddha spent in Makula mountain. Since we don't have any special discourse, I cannot explain anything. Then again, after that, when the Buddha arrives at Rajagaha, after Vassa Buddha goes to Rajagaha, we have one problem. That one is a man, especially a wealthy man. When he was taking shower in the river, he made net to protect him. His sandalwood touched to the net. When he got it, he realized this is a very valuable sandalwood. He has a house. He had many kinds of sandalwood. He also knows the smell. What kind of sandalwood? Then he decided. There were many people who declared that they were Arhat. They were Buddha. So I just wish to know who are really Buddha, who are really Arhat. So he carved it to make a bow, wooden bow. Then he make bamboo, join bamboo together and puts high place. He also announced all over the city in the Rajagaha. If there's an Arhat who can take it by psychic power, I will offer. There are many of other spiritual leaders approach that wealthy men and ask to offer the bow to them. They also say, we don't want to show our psychic power for useless bow. We are Arhat, please give us. Then he rejected, if you are really Arhat, just go take it with psychic power. So it passed 6th day. On the 7th day, Venerable Pindola, Bharadwaja, and Venerable Mahamoggallana were wearing full robe at the entrance of the city, in the one of the rock. When they are wearing, not very far from them, drunkards were talking about the bow. And they said, there are many Arhat in this world. Now, no Arhat. Because that wealthy man declared 6 days ago, now this is 7th day already. Nobody can take it. When hearing that, Venerable Mahamoggallana talked to Venerable Pindola Bharadwaja. Now, for this wooden bow, people has many unwholesome minds. How can we remove it? Who will take responsibility? In reality, Venerable Mahamoggallana also can do it, but he don't wish to do. Then Venerable Pindola Bharadwaja. Pindola is his Dhamma name, Bharadwaja is his lineage. I will take responsibility. Then he brings the rock they were wearing, full of rope, psychic power, bring to the sky and go around the Rajagaha. When seeing the rock, people scare. Yeah, this rock, very big rock, is it flying on the sky? If they drop, we will die. They scare. Then they ask, who is that there? The Venerable Pindola show who is he. And he also sent the rock to its place. Then come down. At the time, the wealthy man offer sandalwood bows for him. Then the next day, many people hadn't seen displaying miracle power, so they requested one more time to show miracle power. Venerable Pindola Bharadwaja have to show frequently. It makes very noisy in the monastery. When hearing that, when the Buddha asked to Venerable Ananda, what makes that kind of noise? Now people requested for displaying psychic power. Then Venerable and also reported all the conditions of the wooden bowl. When hearing that, the Buddha asked all the bhikkhus to gather in one place. After gathering, the Buddha came to the assembly and asked to Venerable Pindola, "Do you accept wooden bowl?" He also said, "Yes, Venerable sir." The Buddha asked to split into pieces, to cut into the pieces. Wooden bowl is not allowable. Then Buddha also laid down the rules. Bhikkhu must not show their psychic power. After laying down the rules, then many other spiritual leaders were very happy. Now, Gautama laid down the rules already. This means if he had laid down the rules, he will never break the rules. They thought like that, and they challenged. Now, we would like to compete with the Gautama, displaying Marika power. Previously, we don't wish to show our psychic power for useless bow. Gautama disciple, do it for useless bow. But Gautama is so wise, that's why he didn't allow to use that kind of bow. But now, we will compete with the Buddha, Gautama. They thought Buddha will never accept their challenge. But unfortunately, the Buddha also declared, so I will display miracle power in 4 months. Then they feel shocked. They have never expected the Buddha will announce like that. After spending some time in Rajagaha, the Buddha continues his journey to Kapilavatthu. So all the other spiritual leaders also follow the Buddha, spreading the news. If Gautama run away, they will miss competition. They don't wish to miss this kind of chance to compete with the Gautama. When the Buddha arrived at Savatthi, Kimpasiniti Kosala approached the Buddha and asked, "Venerable sir, you have already declared that you will display miracle power. You also have laid down the rules. This is not very proper." Then the Buddha asked him, "Again, I will ask you. You can answer as you feel free. Like say there was a mango tree belong to you. Then, if other people pluck the tree and eat, what will you do?" "I will punish them. This is my mango tree. I will not allow anybody to eat." "Then if you yourself eat the mango fruits, what will you do?" "It belongs to me. I will not do anything." Then the Buddha said, "Similarly, Sakya power belongs to me, like a mango tree. All that come from me. So if I wish, I can play. But I just prohibited the rules for my disciple, for their future." Then many of other spiritual leaders prepare special place for them to play miracle power. They made hardwoods with very beautiful, well-decorated pavilion. Then Kimpasiniti Kosala asked the Buddha, "Venerable sir, all other leaders are ready. They had already prepared their place for displaying psychic power. How should I prepare for you?" The Buddha said, "You don't need to prepare anything. Now where are you going to display miracle power? I will display in the mango tree planted by Amba then all the spiritual leaders scared. They were rich. Rich means Buddha didn't have their money, right? They were rich. That's why they bought all the mango trees around Savatthi. They cut every tree, all the mango trees. Even small mango plants is not allowable for them. But they dare not touch the king's mango tree. Then, at that very day, the Buddha, in the activity of displaying miracle power, the Buddha left Chiravana monastery. Also, at the time, the Kanda is the name of gardener. So he's working for the king in the king's garden, the mango group. He found a mango fruits and he offered the one to the Buddha. After eating, the Buddha planted it. Then the Buddha just asked Kanda to plant it, and he washed his hands. It grew immediately, bear the fruit. Anyway, the main thing is Buddha showed many of miracle power at the very day. I think many of you may have been to India, Savatthi, right? You may have seen a small mountain, small hill. The first time when I go there, only the first time, no, not the second time also now. So at night we arrived at Savatthi. When we passed that small hill, our tourist guide told us, this is a Buddha's airport. I thought there is a small airport after that hill. I didn't know. We spent one night. The next morning we come back again. At the time, tourist guide also told me again, this is Buddha's airport. Why? I cannot see any aeroplane. I cannot see any landing. Then, why do you call Buddha's airport? Doesn't mean Buddha flying from that area, that place. That's why we call Buddha's airport. Okay, now the main point is Buddha declared 4 months ago. So many people went to see it. Very big group of people gathered there. Then, unfortunately, at that very day, very windy, stormy, then all the pavilions built by other spiritual leaders were swept away by the wind. Then rain also fall, very heavy rain. Then they have to run away. They cannot show any miracle power. In reality, they don't have any miracle power. Anyway, so the Buddha also came to know this is a special occasion. Then he creates jewel paths, walking paths, very long jewel walking paths, same as before in his the native town and also in the Bodhi tree. After that, the Buddha also displayed water and fire, miracle powers, two miracle. Then all the displays are according to people's wish. This means the Buddha also can know people's minds. That's why if the Buddha show like this, it will be better. Buddha show according to their wish. Then it can satisfy all the people. After that, the Buddha continues his journey to Davarisa. Then deliver Vidama talk. Today, I think Vidama talk will be long enough, right? Okay, now, actually there are many things at the time. Right? So if I say very much in detail, I think I cannot send you to Davarisa. Okay, now, in Davarisa, the Buddha explained Abhidhamma talks. So here one more thing. When the Buddha explained suttas, we have 4 kinds of suttas. The first type, according to Buddha's wish. Sometimes nobody requests the Buddha. The Buddha himself say, ask bhikkhu to gather in one place. Then explain, bhikkhus, please listen to me. When you have to go to the forest, when you have to go here and there, if you have fear, you have to do Buddhanussati, Dhamma, something like that. By his own wish, he explained many things to disciples. From time to time, Buddha may say, like, if there's a wood in the river, if nobody take it, pull out into the land, it will go to the ocean, for example. The Buddha get that kind of simile, explain to disciple. Nobody requested. He himself explained. Sometimes, according to listener's wish, listener's desire. I have said, when Anaramidika came to the monastery or Usaka came to the monastery, the Buddha never talk about anicca, dukkha, anatta, vipassana. The Buddha just talk about only worldly things, how to live as a good householder. Similarly, sometimes when bhikkhu came to see the Buddha, according to their condition, the Buddha explained what to do, how to do. Then they could attain path and Krishna knowledge. That kind of thing happened in many occasions. The second type of discourse. The third one, Pucha Vasika, questioning. When someone came and asked a question, Buddha explained. For example, Mangala Sutta. It's very big rumor. What is Mangala? What is it really Mangala? Blessing. Different people have different opinion. They argue very long years, 12 years long. After that, one of the Deva came down to see the Buddha and asked question. What's the really Mangala? What is the really blessing? The Buddha explained Mangala Sutta. This is according to the question. Similarly, there were many Brahmas, many Devas, then many householders, laymen or laywomen, approached the Buddha, asked many questions. For example, Venerable, people say Nivarana, hindrances. What's a Nivarana? The Buddha explained, this is Nivarana, this is Nivarana, this is hindrance, this is hindrance. Greed is also hindrance, dosa hindrance. Vijikiccha, doubt is also hindrance, illusion also hindrance. The Buddha will explain what's the hindrance. After that, the Buddha also continue other discourse. Now, the last one, Atopatika. When something happened in the Sangha, the Buddha explained. For example, Dhamma Sutta. When Buddha became very famous, many devotees came to offer the Buddha. Sangha also had a lot of gain, a lot of properties. In the midday after lunch, they strike wooden gong, they distribute properties. Then also Sangha also make noise. When hearing that, Buddha asks, why? They are noisy. Venerable Ananda replied, they are sharing properties, distributing properties. Then the Buddha asked all the bhikkhu to gather in Dhamma hall and explain Dhamma Sutta. This means I don't wish you to accept only the material inherited. I just wish you to accept Dhamma inherited, and so on. So this means according to the conditions, something happened to Sangha. Improper condition, that's why Buddha explained discourses. Employ only the four types. According to his own wishes or desire, according to listener's wish, then according to the question, something happened in the Sangha. So these four conditions, the Buddha explained the suttas. In the case of Abhidhamma, the Buddha just used ultimate truth. Very few conventional truths. So you have known three Pitaka. The first one is Vinaya Pitaka. Second one is Sudana Pitaka. That one is Abhidhamma Pitaka. In reality, Suddhanta Pitaka arrives earlier than Vinaya. Vinaya arrives second, then Abhidhamma 7 Vassa. Then, whenever the Buddha laid down Vinaya rules, the Buddha uses authority, discourse on authority. So we cannot lay down Vinayas. We cannot lay down any new rules. Only the Buddha can lay down Vinaya rules. We cannot change any Vinaya rules also. Only the Buddha can change. Sometimes the Buddha was allowed up to some conditions. Sometimes the Buddha restricts. You must not do this one also. Restriction. Then, what about Sutta? Sutta is only conventional truth, mostly. There were some special suttas, we have ultimate truth. From time to time, people get confused. For example, Jati Jara Marana. Jati, rebirth. Jara, aging. Marana means death. Then, many people also get confused, especially if they have listened from many other tradition. If I openly say, if time tradition. They say, rebirth is a rising state, aging is a standing state, Marana is a perishing state. Then, we cannot say all the time like this. For example, in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, the Buddha said, what is it? Jara, aging. Then, Buddha lists out Jara, Jirinada, Kandijam, Balijam, Walidijada, something like that. The Buddha lists out. What's the real meaning of Jara? Then, Kandijam, broken teeth. So, in the perishing state, actually in the Namarupa we don't have teeth. In Namarupa we don't have teeth. Here, broken teeth, this is a concept, not ultimate truth. Similarly, Palijam means gray hair. So in Namarupa we don't have gray hair. Then again, finally, Walidicada. This means wrinkle, skin is a wrinkle. Also, in Namarupa we don't have skin. So we have to understand concept as a concept. We must not mess up with ultimate realities. If we mess up, we have misunderstanding. So in the Sutta, mostly the Buddha used concept, but sometimes the Buddha also used ultimate realities. For example, when the Buddha talk about dukkha, when you study Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, you can find, right? Jatipi dukkha, jarapi dukkha, maranapi dukkha, many dukkha. So many. At the end, Buddha mentioned Sankhitena Panchuparanikkhana dukkha. At the time, 5 getting aggregate is called dukkha sajja, dukkha suffering. So if we say 5 getting aggregates, this is ultimate truth. If we say jatipi dukkha, this is not ultimate truth concept. So if we summarize, in Suddhanta Pitaka, the Buddha used concept most of the time. Sometimes the Buddha used ultimate truth, very little. If the Buddha say 10 or maybe 5 speech, 5 words, for example, one of them will be ultimate truth, maybe. Very little percentage. Then again, in Abhidhamma, the Buddha used ultimate truth. So, how can we know ultimate truth and conventional truth? Conventional truth is always changing, not all the time truth. This is called conventional truth. In Bali, we call samuti sajja. Changing according to the condition. For example, short and long. We cannot say this one is short all the time. We must have some comparison. Compare with something others. We can say short or long. It's also changing. Similarly, like it, east and west. According to our location is changing. We cannot say all the time east, all the time west. It depends on where we live. Then similarly, time is also changing according to where we live. So time is also changing. Then many others even, okay, one person, for example, right? Okay, I myself. If I live with my disciple, I'm a teacher. But when I see my teacher, I become student again. The same person, a different name. Teacher also Kovida. Student also Kovida, the same person. Then similarly, there will be parents, right? So when they live together with their son or daughters, their children, he will be parents. But when they met their parents, he became daughter or son again. The same person related to niece and nephew, uncle or auntie. So we cannot fix the name of person all the time, changing according to angle. This is called conventional truth. So when we speak, we have to use conventional truth. When we practice samatha also, we must use conventional truth. When we are going to practice vipassana, we must use ultimate truth. Then in the case of ultimate truth, anytime is the truth. In any person is the truth. All the time truth. For example, greed. When greed arises in animal, they also want to get something. When greed arises in human being, they also want to get something. When greed arises in deva also, they want to get something. This is the nature of ultimate truth. Then similarly, 4 elements, heat and cold, for example. Heat is always heat. Cold is always cold. It depends on the degree, maybe. Anyway, the main point is heat, and if no heat, this will be cold. If no cold, there will be heat. This is the nature of fire element. Similarly, softness and hardness. Soft or hard. This is the earth element. So if no soft, there will be hard. If no hard, this will be soft. Only 2. So it depends on the degree will be a little bit different. This is always truth. That's why we call ultimate truth. Similarly, saddha, faith, confidence. When the confidence arises, then everybody, they have a clear mind, clear vision. That is called ultimate truth. So, ultimate truth is unchangeable. It always exists. When we experience, we can know this ultimate truth. So in Bhidhamma, the Buddha used ultimate truth most of the time. A few conventional truths are also used there. So now, one more thing. Very important things also. That one is, mostly people talk about Nama Rupa. Right? I also have asked, recently I have already talked to you. In Indonesia, one of the yogi asked me, if there's a Nama Rupa, only Nama Rupa, only 5 gates, why we can say Banadi Bada? So similarly, at the time of Buddha also, we have some spiritual leaders. They teach that kind of instruction to their disciples. When you kill living beings, we cannot say this is akusala. We cannot say unwholesome. We cannot say this is bad behavior or bad things. Earth element go into earth elements. No mistake. Right? This body is also there's earth elements. Knife is also for the knife. Earth elements. Earth element go into earth elements. No mistake. Then we don't need to lay down any laws in the country. If people accept that kind of teaching, it will get worse. We don't have safety. So there are 8 conditions. The Buddha never used ultimate truth. The Buddha used only conventional truth. The first one, when the Buddha explains Hiri Uttapa, moral shame and moral fear. Here mentioned, you must respect yourself, you may have moral shame. You must respect others, you may have moral fear. If you don't respect anybody, you don't respect yourself, you don't respect all other people around you, that means you don't have moral shame or moral fear. So, if we don't say personality, for example, respect others, that means respect our family, respect our friends. If I make some mistakes, it will affect our parents. If I make some mistakes, it will affect our friends. Then this means respect others. Respect ourselves means if we make some mistake, it will affect our value. Our value will become low. This is personal. That's why we call Pokala person. If we don't say ultimate, if we don't say conventional truth, if we say Nama Rupa, respect Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa may not scare. For example, that one is very complicated. That's why we cannot say Nama Rupa all the time. We cannot say Anicca Dukkha all the time. Right? Then similarly, when the Buddha talk about the karma ownership knowledge, karma means good action will make good result, bad action will make bad result. We will be according to our own karma, for example. So at that time also, the Buddha never used ultimate truth, only conventional truth. That means, for example, Nama Rupa make good action. You may not understand. Right? Nama Rupa pay homage to the Buddha. You may not understand. In reality, Nama Rupa pay homage to Nama Rupa. Yeah? We're going to use Buddha also. Buddha is the only concept. So that means whenever we are going to talk about karma, good action, bad action, we must use conventional truth. Otherwise, we will not get the main point. Then, for example, like when the Buddha talk about the actions of individual living beings, manpower, we can say. When the Buddha talk about manpower, for example, this bridge is built by this company, this apartment is built by that company. We have to use who built that one. If we say Nama Rupa, get confused. Right? In this way, we're going to use Nama Rupa. We have to say only conventional truth. Then, again, when the Buddha talk about mighty karma, there were also some wrong view, especially with Nattika Ditti. Nattika Ditti means when you live in Singapore, you're going to hear that kind of things, I think. But when you go to China, you can hear that kind of thing many times. And no parents, no father, no mother, no parents gratitude, no father gratitude, no teacher gratitude. They have that kind of mind, that kind of concept. That's also wrong view. So that's why there's no father. If I keep father also, no problem. If I keep mother also, no problem. No mother. We are human beings. We are Nama Rupa maybe. So if we have that kind of perception, it will be very dangerous. That's why, in the case of mighty karma also, the Buddha will never use ultimate truth, only conventional truth. Then again, the next one, when the Buddha talk about sublime abiding, Brahma Vihara, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha, the Buddha will never explain ultimate truth, only conventional truth. May Nama Rupa be healthy, or may I be healthy. Which one is clear? Right? So that means, in this case also, we must not use ultimate truth. We have to use only conventional truth. Without living beings, we cannot radiate metta. Similarly, Karuna, Mudita, compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity. We must take living being as object. And we must radiate metta. I think 10 years ago, maybe more than 10 years ago, around 2005 or 2004, we have some arguments, especially very long time, one meditation teacher talk about ultimate truth most of the time. In one of his Dhamma talk, he say, when you radiate metta, you say, may I be well and happy. You start with yourself. Right? When we radiate metta, we have to start with ourselves. So we love ourselves most. Also, when we study in Pitisamhita Magga or many other suttas, and Visuddhimagga also mentioned, we must radiate metta to ourselves. After that, we have to start with respected person, dear person, something like that. Then that teacher said, that means you have very strong identity view. Then another teacher pointed out his mistakes and said, this monk, going to show that he's a very expert in Bidaka, but this very big mistakes. In the case of Vedita Metta, we cannot say identity view. We cannot say Namarupa. That's the concept. Similarly, Nata Bindika will call her son, or his son, his daughter, his wife, for example, by name. This is not identity view. This is a concept. They know there's a concept. When we communicate also, we must communicate by name. Otherwise, if we say Namarupa, Namarupa, everybody says Namarupa, we cannot communicate. Right? Then, okay, again. When the Buddha talk about the past existences, in the past lives, you have been that kind of person, whether you have been the king, the queen, minister, Brahmin, animal, the Buddha use only conventional truth. If we talk about Namarupa, also cannot understand. Then, the next one, to explain the purity of donation, offering, the Buddha use conventional truth. For example, from the donor side, donor must be pure in morality. The receiver must be pure in morality. Buddha just use donor and receiver. Buddha will use donation. So this means donor is also 5 aggregates. Donation is a material aggregate, only 4 elements, right? Then receiver is also 5 aggregates or Namarupa. If we say 5 aggregates, offer, material aggregate do 5 aggregates. Then we cannot understand. In this case, we cannot use ultimate truth. Then finally, the Buddha don't wish to reject conventional truth. This means culture of people. That's why when the Buddha met a farmer, the Buddha will explain according to their farming. He will give many simile of farming. Similarly, sometimes the Buddha will use kapena, simile of kapena. When we find in the Sutta, we can find many simile according to the conditions the Buddha used. So that means we cannot say Namarupa all the time. We have to be wise when we use Namarupa. We have one event. That means one well-known Sayadaw, or one of the 5 Sayadaw's Dhamma friends. They have been in the forest together. After that, that dish also became very famous. Now he passed away already. That 5 Sayadaw friend was also vegetarian. But he has Pali school. He also has meditation center. So many young bhikkhus eat meat. He didn't say anything. One of the donors also offered meat to all his disciples, except the Sayadaw. Also Sayadaw recommended him not to offer meat to the Sangha. That devotee always rejected. Finally, the Sayadaw gave up. He didn't say anything for him, to do him, although he offered meat to his disciple. One day, he came to the monastery. Whenever he came, he also approached Sayadaw. When he respect, I bowed down and sat in one side. Sayadaw asked, "Today, what do you offer to Sangha?" He don't want to say he offered pork. Then he changed the topic. Bande, you said everything is a 4 element. Everything is made of 4 elements. So I just offer 4 elements to your disciple. Then this Sayadaw is very smart. He asked, Okay, you are very wise. When you go to the market, do you ask the shopkeeper, please give me 4 elements or please give me pork? Right? So that means we cannot say 4 elements or we cannot say Namarupa all the time. But there's a wrong view already. At the time of Buddha, that kind of thing already happened. Although you kill living beings, that means that is no offense. Only 4 elements. According to their teaching, 6 elements maybe. Huh? According to other spiritual leader, 6 elements. Anyway, then similarly they also say, Hosana and Hosana, Kusala and Agusala. Although you have done many Kusala or Agusala, it will finish when you pass away. So your body will be carried away by 4%. Dead body will carry by 4%. Then buried in the ground. Finally, earth element will change to earth element. Water element will change to water element. Wind element will change to wind element. Fire element will change to fire element. That's why no killing, no kusala, no agusala. So after death, no more. We have that kind of wrong view at the time of the Buddha. So now, we have Abhidhamma, Abhidhamma Desana. I have said Abhidhamma Desana, this is actually ultimate truth. Then I will introduce the first 2 of Abhidhamma. Only 2 lines. Okay? The first 2 lines of Abhidhamma. The one is Kusala Dhamma, Akusala Dhamma. Okay, there are 3 lines. Kusala Dhamma, Akusala Dhamma, Abhyagata Dhamma, 3 lines. I will say only 2 lines. So what is the meaning of Kusala? Here we have explanation. Kusala anavaja vaja sukha vipaga lakkhana. Kusala means anavaja, blameless. That means when we do kusala, good things, it will be beneficial for ourselves, beneficial for others. Nobody will blame. Nobody will complain. That's why blameless. Also one more thing. Sukha vipaga, it will give good results. So sometimes it's good for ourselves, but not very good for others. It's not 100% kusala. Kusala must be good for both ourselves and others. Similarly, kusala must be good for this very life or good for future lives. This is the meaning of kusala. That is why, from time to time, the word also used Sukha Dhamma, pure Dhamma or beautifying Dhamma. Kusala will make people beautify, pure. That's why Buddha also used Sukha Dhamma, pure Dhamma, or beautifying Dhamma. The Akusala Savaja Dukkha Vipaga Lakkhana. If the unwholesome, it will be blameable, worthy of blame. So who will blame? Good person will blame. Then Dukkha Vipaga Lakkhana. It will cause suffering for both ourselves and others. It will be very harmful for ourselves, very harmful for others. Not only that, it will be very harmful for this very life, it was very harmful for future lives. This is called agusala. Then here we say, blameable and blameless. Who blame? So sometimes we are blamed by unwise person. What should we do? We have one Myanmar saying, although you are praised by thousands of unwise persons, don't be happy. But when you are blamed by a wise person, you must be careful. This is the way. That means, for example, drunkard will praise drunkard. they were together. Gambler will praise gambler, because they work together. If they don't praise each other, they're going to work together also. So, similarly, many unwholesome actions. If we complain, that means if we blame, then we are wiser. If we praise, then we also participate. They are wrong actions. So, we have 4 types of good actions, 4 types of bad actions, to say. We ourselves do. This is also wholesome or unwholesome, to say. Sometimes we encourage others to do. This is also the same. Maybe different action. If we do ourselves, this is bodily action. If we encourage others, it will be bhava action. But agusala is agusala. Then again, sometimes we agree. When someone is going to do unwholesome deeds, bad things, we agree. You have to sign, for example, right? To prove. Then, if we agree also, unwholesome. Finally, praise. So that means, for example, Ajatasattu and Devadatta. When Ajatasattu killed his father, good person will complain, but Devadatta praise. He liked the Ajatasattu killing his father. That's why we have good and bad actions. Although we don't do by ourselves, we have to also make ourselves to be wiser. Sometimes our vulgar action can be supporting cause of wrong action of others. Similarly, sometimes our mental action, for example, agree. If we agree, this is mental action. But according to the law, only mental action, no problem. When we have body action and bhava action, then there will be some punishment according to the law. Even Buddha's law, we have only body action and bhava action. Maybe in Buddha's teaching, we must have a combination of mental. That means body action together with mental action. Intentionally doing, intentionally speaking, it will be offense. Sometimes in some special cases, although we speak unintentionally, offense. So Buddha law is a little bit stronger than law in the country. Anyway, so here the main point is, kusala means blameless, good result. Akusala means blamable, bad result. But we have to consider who blame. If a wise person blame, we must consider. If bad person blame, we don't need to consider that much. Then we also have the power of karma, good karma and bad karma. Sometimes people ask, how can we decide that karma is weak or strong? It depends on defilements. How strong your defilements. For example, killing mosquito and killing an elephant. For mosquito, you don't need to prepare. Right? You need to prepare. That means not long time defilements. So when you are going to kill an elephant, you have to prepare very long time unwholesome deeds, long time defilements. Similarly, anger. How strong your anger? Actually, only short time anger we cannot kill. Long time anger, recall it. Finally, anger becomes stronger and stronger. Finally, make action. That means we are very scared to kill other living beings, mostly. But when we have very strong anger, we will kill. how strong your defilements. This is also one of the things. Then again, how strong efforts. So, previous example, mosquito and elephant. For mosquito, you can have very slight efforts, only one strike finish. But to kill an elephant, you have to make very strong efforts. You must prepare the gun or everything. If you are going to use spear, also you have to prepare spear, special spear, special weapon. Also, you have to also shoot the blades, otherwise you will be attacked by an elephant. So we must prepare very well. We have to make very, very strong efforts. Effort also make the karma stronger and weaker. Then, another thing is Jirana Mahanda Daya. Jirana means how strong your desire to die or to kill. Not only this defilements. Sometimes, many people say mercy killing. Many people ask this question, mercy killing, is it Panatipada or not? I say Panatipada the same. Then how willingly you do? If you willingly accept, that means Panatipada. Very strong Panatipada. If unwillingly you agree, not very strong. Panatipada is Panatipada. If parents is mighty karma. Anyway, so the next one is the value of the person. For example, practically, killing a president and killing a thief. We may have different issue, different punishment. Similarly, Buddha law also mentioned according to the value of people. If people are valuable, very wise, very good in virtues, it will have your agusala. That's why when we kill parents, mighty karma. When we kill arhat, mighty karma. When we try to assassinate Buddha, mighty karma. That's why it's very heavy. So, in brief, when we have strong defilements, strong effort, strong willingness, also value of other living beings, there will be stronger agusala. Then, for example, telling lie. It depends on how harmful for others. That means we may tell lie because of our telling lie. He will make many mistakes and also he will get some problem. It depends on how harmful for others. You can also decide like that. Okay, so we have kusala and agusala. If we try to praise kusala, we become wiser and wiser. If we dislike agusala, we will become wiser and wiser. So this is the first two. What is the kusala? What is the agusala? How strong and how weak? The Buddha explained in the Vidhamma. Okay. So now, the Buddha spent his Vassa in Dawarinsa, Vidhamma talk, at the same year. The Buddha as a human being, he must have meal every day. So he creates another Buddha's image there. The Buddha image will deliver discourse there. He come down for Bindabada. After that, he also explain a short explanation to Venerable Sariputta. At the very year, Venerable Sariputta also explained to his disciple, neither too short nor too long, medium Vidhamma. At the end of the Vassa, we have three versions of Vidhamma. The biggest version is by the Buddha in Dawarinsa runs is very wide and detailed. Very short version was also delivered by the Buddha to Venerable Sariputta. Very short, nobody can understand the one. Only Venerable Sariputta can understand. The medium version, Venerable Sariputta explained to his disciple. So within one Vassa, we have three versions of Vidhamma text. Now currently, we are using in human run is by Venerable Sariputta, not by the Buddha. How can we know that? For example, Yamaka. Okay? Only we have 3 volumes. If we chant, okay, although we have a 7 Bidama text, Yamaka and Patana are the biggest volume. Yamaka only 3 volumes. If we chant normally, within 3 days we will finish. Patana 5 volumes. If we chant regularly, just normal tone, within 7 days we can finish. So Buddha delivered Abhidhamma talk 3 months. Even the biggest one, within 10 days we can finish. That's why now the current version we are using in human run is by Venerable Sariputta. We can understand like this. This is neither too long nor too short. Okay? So one more thing. Venerable Sariputta disciple hand over Dharma tradition, generation to generation. They also explain something more in detail. It becomes Beginnika Desana commentary. If we combine together with the commentary, it will be a little bit wider. Okay? So Abhidhamma was also taught by the Buddha in Taoist realms. Also taught by Venerable Sariputta in human realms. So if we don't understand ultimate truth, we cannot realize the Nibbana. Whenever we practice samatha, we must use conventional objects most of the time, most of the objects. There will be some exception. Some of samatha subjects are ultimate truth. For example, 4 elements. When we have to use ultimate truth as meditation subject, that meditation subject cannot produce jhana. Only we can attain asset concentration. If we use conventional truths, we can use first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, sometimes up to 8 attainments, including 4 immaterial jhanas. So, I also have said, in the very beginning, we have 7 purifications. Purifications of morality, conventional truth. Purifications of the mind, also conventional truth, samatha subject. The purifications of view become ultimate truth. We must understand nama and rupa. At the time, we can purify our view. If we can know nama rupa, their process, their causes, we may not have a wrong view. If we can discern everything clearly, there will be maturity of inside knowledges. After that, we can attain birth and first knowledge. So, we have to use both conventional truth and ultimate truth for our improvement. So, may you all be able to practice 3 trainings, and may you all be able to realize the final cessation. Any? Oh, okay.
But then how to make the Anapanasati very more easier, simple? But they say very simple, right? I don't know how is the criteria.
Okay. Very simple means if you can know only natural breaths, it will become simple. Sometimes you may expect. If you expect, you may make more efforts. You may create breathing. You may create many other things. You will feel tense, not that much comfortable. Especially when you control the breathing too much, you may feel suffocating, chest pain. If you forcefully breathe in, breathe out, you may feel tense around your head, nose, around the temple. This means unnatural breathing. So the main point is, as long as you can know natural breathing, you may feel free and comfortable. Then one more thing, focusing point. So we have a different perception. Some teachers said you must focus on the touching points. Some teachers said you must focus on the breathing. And don't think about focusing point, for example, right? Actually, we have some quotation, reference from Brisamidamaga. That means three things: in breath, out breath, and touching. As long as we can know one of the three is okay. Whether you are knowing in breath, or out breath, or touching sensation. But one more thing: if you emphasize, focus on the touching sensation too much, there will be tense again. So from time to time, you don't know both in or out. You just know the breathing sometimes. It will be better. So, if we summarize, don't analyze breathing too much. If you try to analyze, you may have more doubt, more confusion. Breathing should be simple. As long as you can know breathing in, out, or breathing, okay. If you're trying to analyze, you have to use extra effort to know it. It makes your mind busy, more restlessness. Another thing is tense, or the doubt, right? Many side effects. Okay. Then another question now.
Like this, we for the beginner, we want to have a not noisy place. That means we must go into Pa-Auk monastery. Better.
Yeah, Pa-Auk is noisy. What will you do?
Is it 100% success?
So, what about the success? We have skill. How skillful we are. For example, before seeing the nimitta, or after seeing the nimitta, before attaining jhana, we must have three skills. The first one is karana. Karana means doing, making efforts. How to make efforts? If it is excessive effort, restlessness. If very weak effort, drowsiness and laziness. Right? Balanced efforts, natural efforts. In another way, we can also understand, you must know how to make your nimitta. How to get nimitta. Right? Okay? So, it depends on skill. That means, for example, focusing points, far and near, for example, right? Far and near. So very far, very near, then it will get confused also. Similarly, analyzing too much in detail. Very small threat, for example, right? It's like a horizontal or particle. You may have many experience. Then this means you have a lot of analyzing. You will get confused. So when you have, the first thing is you must know how to be simple. Now people are very familiar with the complicated things, but they don't know how to be simple. Right? So, don't analyze anything. Breathing must be breathing, don't analyze. How far, how near, how big, how small. The light also don't analyze. Okay, now forget about the lights. Later I will explain about the lights. You know? The first thing, okay, for the first thing, how to make, how to get. One more thing. You must remember what is supporting cause of concentration. For example, food. Which foods make you drowsy? Which food make you better concentration? Foods. Similarly, weather. In which weather do you have good concentration? Posture. Which posture is the best for you? Another thing, especially your mind. In what kind of mind state you have good? For example, if your mind is free, you will get better results. If your mind is not very free, pressure because of Singaporean, right? This is the nature. Whenever Singaporean come to Myanmar, they have pressure because they have to live in pressure in Singapore, right? Then if no pressure, better. The first thing is freedom of mind. Mind is not very free. Pressure, I must be successful within 1 week, within 1 month. Not really very good. Right? This is not like earning money. This is not for survivor. This is for practice. So although you cannot practice successfully, nobody will complain. This is no punishment for it also. Right? That's why no pressure, freedom of mind. This is important. So sometimes your mind and breathing become very harmonious. Effortlessly you can know the breath. You must remember that kind of process. If you can remember that kind of process, you know how to maintain. The next step. So the first one, harmonious mind. This means how to get nimitta, the first step. Second one, how to maintain it. So that means sometimes we have very much harmonious minds, but we're trying to test many ways. Testing. Focus on different angle. Focus on left side, right side, center, top. Playing like that. Then after that, mind become busy. Drop. This means when you have good result, never test. Keep the same step. Maintain. You will get deeper and deeper naturally. So second, you must know how to maintain. That's key. How to improve. In reality, if you can maintain well, you can improve naturally. Another thing is now seeing the light, for example, right? You start seeing the light. Whenever we start seeing the light, we have big problem. That one is using eyes. So we have habit of using our eyes to see many things. When we start seeing the light, we just use our eyes to see the light. Then the light is very strong, like car headlight, pointing to your eyes. Sometimes tears may come out. People may think you are crying. That means nobody's killed yet. So whenever condition we have, we must use our mind to know the breathing. So many people also ask the same question. How can we know that we are using our eyes or minds? Right? This is a common question. Then, very simple. Now open eye. Pay attention to your house. Now open eye now. Even can you see your house? But you can see, you can use your mind to see. Right? Similarly, open eye, see the breath. You can know the breath, but your eye cannot see. Right? You cannot see your nose with your eyes. It's impossible. That's why, if necessary, there are some people who have very strong analyzing like that. I just ask very simple. Okay, otherwise, open eye, focus on the breath for a few minutes. After coming back, whether you are focusing with your eyes or minds. Very clear example, right? So you must use your mind to know the breath, to see the light. As soon as your mind inclined to the eyes, or you try to use your eyes to see the light, not successful. It will distract, a lot of distraction. So another thing, before our nimitta become very strong and stable, we must focus on the breathing. In Anapanasati, only two things to focus. Breathing or nimitta. As long as you don't have very strong and powerful nimitta, focus on the breath, no mistakes. Also, it should be very simple breath. Don't try to make far or near or big or small. Don't think about big or small or far or near. Don't think about size or shape, form, anything. Don't think about color too much. If you think about color, shape, form, location, you get confused. So make it simple. Focus on the breath. Easier. Right? That's why people are very easy to be communicated, but very difficult to be simple. Huh? Okay. Huh? Okay. Sure. Okay, so for example, I have already talked about the light, for example, right? When seeing the lights, sometimes very bright, also we have very strong tranquility. Although we are present samatha, for example, there are some meditator, they thought they have attained jhana. because of very strong tranquility. Also, many other teachers also say jhana is like that. Many things like that. For example, if we believe that kind of thing as some attainment, then we have very strong confidence, very strong faith. Cannot improve anymore. That's why we have to analyze. What's the real meaning of jhana? Jhana means if our mind can absorb on one object, especially nimitta, that means jhana. So in the jhana also we have very strong equanimity. Equanimity means although we have very strong happiness, our mind does not incline to have happiness. Although we have very strong tranquility, our mind will not incline to tranquility. Only one thing, knowing the nimitta. Very sharp, very strong. This is called jhana. So if we have analyzing, this means we can control our faith. So then we will misbelieve or wrong belief. Then another thing, I have said analyzing. Sometimes we have a lot of analyzing. More doubt come, no faith. So that means if we have a lot of analyzing, faith will disappear. That's why we have to have confidence again. Right? So that means sometimes our words are right or wrong. Many doubts. Sometimes breath disappear. I make some mistake. For example, the light disappear. For a few seconds, the light disappear. But we all have doubt whether I made some mistake or not. That means doubt. We must try to have confidence. We have to balance these two. This means as long as we are doing breathing, we must have confidence, no doubt. As long as we know the breath, no mistakes. So we have to balance these two: saddha, panya, confidence and wisdom. Because under faith and panya, because of analyzing and investigating. If we can balance these two, then we can improve. Second one is the virya and concentration. These two. Sometimes we have very strong efforts. We are very diligent. Because of very strong efforts, more restlessness comes. That means, for example, frog. We're not going to catch the frog. If you use very strong energy, it will jump very easily. If you can use slowly and with slight effort, you can catch the frog. Fish also the same. If you are skillful, okay, you can catch within 1 second. But not very skillful, you have to patiently catch fish. By hand, this means. Okay, similarly, sometimes we are very diligent, very strong effort. We make very strong efforts. For breathing, very strong. Controlling breathing also very strong. Also, we use very strong energy around the nostril, but finally it only tense. No good effort. That means, if too strong efforts, we feel tense, distractions, restlessness. No good effort. Another thing is that if we have very weak efforts, also fall asleep. Concentration. One more thing, right? So, sometimes our concentration becomes very strong. Very strong. But we cannot maintain our concentration with our efforts. If we don't have maintaining efforts, we will fall asleep. Like that. Sometimes we have very strong concentration. Then at the same time we also have very strong tranquility. When concentration becomes very strong tranquility, rapture, joy, we like that kind of things. I mean, too much comfortable. When rapture and joy arise, very much comfortable, we like that kind of things. The mind does not incline to breathing. The mind just inclines to comfort, rapture, joy. Finally, effort becomes weaker and weaker, drop. Fall asleep or fall into the bhavanga like that. So that means, if we have very strong effort, we may have thoughts knowingly. We're going to overcome. We also know there's a thought, we're going to overcome. Then we have very strong efforts. Relax again. Sometimes we have thoughts unknowingly. The thought arises unknowingly. But when we know, time passes already. That means we have very weak efforts. So, if we summarize, strong concentration, weak efforts, we may have unknowingly thought. Strong efforts, weak concentration, a lot of restlessness knowingly. A lot of thoughts knowingly. Roughly we can understand like that. So yeah, the key player is mindfulness. We have to check ourselves all the time. We have to be mindful on the breathing. If too much effort, for example, too much restlessness, we must remember to relax ourselves. Don't be lazy to restart. Sometimes we also have a problem. If we have some good conditions, we don't want to restart. We just want to continue use. Right? Many people have that kind of problem. For example, up and down effort, for example. In the very beginning, not very good concentration. Then try a little bit more efforts, it will be getting better. But we're not satisfied with the one. Make a little bit more efforts. It's getting deeper. For a few minutes, okay. Then we're not satisfied with the condition, make a little bit more effort, it gets deeper a little bit more again. We can maintain. Then make a little bit more effort. It gets deeper, deeper, finally, we cannot maintain anymore, drop. Start from zero. Then redo the same process. Making deeper and deeper, 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 making stronger and stronger efforts. Cannot maintain, restart from beginning. So up and down like that. Many of people have that kind of experience. That means they don't save their energy. They have excessive efforts, not that much good concentration. When they are getting deeper and deeper also, they don't have enough effort to maintain. Okay? Yeah, the key point is if you are maintaining efforts, okay. If you cannot maintain, that means don't make that kind of effort. Okay? That means, okay, another way. For easier to understand. If you become very tired and exhausted within 20 minutes, after that no more energy to continue, that means you have used a lot of energy. So after 1 hour, if you become very exhausted, that means you have up and down effort. Not very stable. Sometimes you make very strong, sometimes you relax, up and down. If you can save your effort, you can save 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, no problem. Okay? That means saving efforts. It depends on mindfulness. One more thing, our experience also teaches us. If we have many experience like that, we can understand, oh, this is a strong effort, this is a weak effort. Finally, we can balance everything, we can improve. Okay? Any other thing? Sure. Not easy, sure. Sure. Another thing is experience. Experience is also necessary. Experience. When you have practically experienced that kind of difficulty, you realize that this is very terrible. Right? Similarly, to know others' tension, I myself experience tension. Right? Like the Buddha himself also experienced very strong pain in his body, controlling breathing. Right? Yeah? Okay. Okay, it's also the same. For the minute also, it must be natural. If we create something stronger, for example, hardness, this is of the elements. So it should be natural hardness. For example, hardness of bone, hardness of flesh will be different. We must know natural hardness. If you're trying to create very strong hardness, then over effort, not that much comfortable. Then similarly, softness. Softness, okay, no problem. Although it's very hard, you can create softness, not that much big problem. But if you use too much effort, let's say, it will be many restlessness, heat and cold. It should be natural. When you grasp your hand, you can see warmness or heat. Especially when you grasp one hand will be all the way one way all the way cold, normal. Just grab your hand, you can know heat and cold. Naturally. Don't create anything. Every body part there will be heat and cold. So as long as you discern naturally, no problem. When you start creating, there will be excessive element. When too hot, that means you become very tense, like a rock. Something unbearable. Then similarly, too heat, then it will be unbearable for you. Similarly, flowing cohesion also. If excessive, not really very good. Another thing is spending a very long time focusing on one body part, not really very good. For example, you have to start from head, power point parts, hardness, power point part, every body part. If you spend very long time in one body part, there will be tense in that body part. Mind power also affect that area. That's why, if not very clear in one body part, skip that one. Not more than 1 minute. Maybe less than 1 minute it should be. Then skip next part like that. Sometimes this is in the very beginning, designing one by one, part by part. Later, when you can design overview from head to feet, just within one glance, you have to see hardness all over the body and that kind of things. At the time, another problem, that one is unclear element. For example, you can design hardness very clearly, but softness is not very clear. Skip that one. Don't try for it. If you try, that will be excessive. You have to use more effort than tense, not that much comfortable. So there must be skill also. It must be natural. Don't create anything. Then body parts. Don't spend very long in one body part. Also for element also, if you have to do overview also, don't spend very long time for one element. If necessary, skip. This is the way of 4 elements. Okay? Okay, so Bhuvanka mind means like a kind of unconscious mind state. Unconscious mind states. That means you cannot know any particular object at the time. Your mind cannot recall what's the object. Like unconscious. That one actually, it cannot cause this. If you have that kind of condition, you cannot come back to the breathing. For example, like you have very strong effort. You all have very strong concentration. Okay, for example, you have very strong concentration, very strong rapture and joy, very good condition already. But you like that kind of rapture, joy, tranquility, your mind follow it. Finally, your effort becomes weaker and weaker. Then you don't know anything. You may feel fresh and very peaceful at the time. Right? In a Bhuvanka state, it's very fine, very peaceful. You may think that you have a hardship. Very peaceful. But if when it becomes habit, you're going to improve anymore. You're in the same state every day, every night, very comfortable. Before that happens, we can overcome it. When it really happens, not that much easy. 1 time, 2 times, no problem. When it becomes habit, not really very good. For example, like when you have very strong tranquility, rapture, joy, we have to remind ourselves. Keep knowing the breath. Come into the breath. Don't follow comfort too much. People like comfortable feeling, pleasant feeling, right? This is the nature. Follow, finally, effort becomes weaker and weaker. Then fall into the Bhuvanka like that. Especially when you start seeing the light, it happens. Many people have experienced that one. Okay. Then, okay.
Bhante, if I close my eyes, I can immediately see light. So I don't know whether this is because some people maybe have sensitive skin, some people don't have sensitive skin. So in case of me, when I close my eyes, I can see light immediately. Especially if the room has some kind of light. But if I meditate in a totally dark room, when I close I close the light, they are light. So when I close the light, there's still some kind of cloud.
Like a mirage. Like a mirage? Mirage?
Kind of like a cloud.
Cloud.
Quite white.
Oh, white.
So I don't know whether, because before I meditate, I never pay notice when I close my eyes.
Okay, so when you have like a little bit clear mind, it can happen. You can see the light like that anytime. Especially when you have confidence, rapture, joy, it can be anytime. So sometimes because of previous concentration power also, you can see the light. Anyway, so the main point is, whenever you see the light, don't think about light too much. Especially now shape, you can see the like cloud, for example. Right? The shape can change according to your perception. From time to time it will change. Similarly, color, it will change. Location, it will change according to the perception. So sometimes, now in your condition, you cannot feel the breath easily. This is one of the reasons. Mostly when we start seeing the light, breathing is not very clear, not very obvious. Sometimes you can feel breath in out. Sometimes you cannot feel in out, you just know breathing. Sometimes your breath totally disappear. It can happen. So here, one more thing to do. When your breath disappear totally, you can feel something like a wave around the nostril. Like a wave. Rotating, something like that, or like a wave, any form. Another thing.
Is it?
Some tickle. Yeah, like tickle, something tickle like that. Okay, so another one is you may feel when you touch your body hair, don't touch your skin, right? Rough. You may feel that kind of sensation. Right? You can feel that kind of sensation around the nostril. When your breath disappears, you can wait and watch there. Your breath will reappear. Then you can focus on the breath. There can be background light, no problem. Background light, you can know the breath. If you can keep knowing the breathing like that, finally, the light can change to the nimitta. Okay? So this means it's possible to change the nimitta in this condition. Okay? Any other thing? So that if necessary, it's possible to alternate. For example, like if you have a lot of thoughts or many things, a lot of restlessness, then for relaxation you can do metta. Then after coming down your mind, start focus on the breathing. So if you can do only one object whole sitting, much better. Sometimes if we cannot avoid many thoughts, many other disturbances, okay, do metta or bodhanussati or any other object, then come back to the breathing. Huh? Okay, then?
Just now, Bande have taught to us about the kusala and akusala. Then, in our daily life, how to maintain and prevent akusala, then maintain the kusala. Thank you, Bante.
It's a very difficult question, right? Okay, so we have the one of the example given to Ken Mahanama. Ken Mahanama was the setter of Surodhana. Right? This is another in the Kapilavatthu. He was the king. When the Buddha visited Kapilavatthu, Ken Mahanama approached and asked, Venerable Sir, we householder had full of danger. We can pass away any time. Doesn't mean at the time they have used elephants, horse as a vehicle, right? So we can be attacked by elephants, attacked by horse, attacked by bull, many animals, wild animal. We can pass away any time. If we pass away with unwholesome mind, we will be reborn in the hell. Right? It's very dangerous for us, unsafe. When he reported that things to the Buddha replied, it means your inclination. When your mind inclined to good actions most of the time, it can be good. When your mind inclined to the bad action most of the time, it will be bad. So the main point is inclination. So that means when our mind inclined to good thing most of the time, we're going to avoid bad things because of ordinary people. When we have bad minds, bad habits, we're going to 100% remove. Not Buddha. Buddha can remove everything. So anyway, so the main point is, when we have good actions more, bad action less, it will be okay. This is the main point. Then there, Buddha also mentioned. Okay, let's say there is a tree bent to the lake, near the lake. Trees that bent to the lake. If a man cut the tree will fall down to the lake or fall down to the land. Then, because it went into the lake, it will fall to the lake. Similarly, if the tree is bent into the land, it may kind of came in a cut. Where it will fall? It will fall into the land. The word also mentioned, similarly, if our mind inclined to good, will fall to the good. If our mind inclined to the bad, will fall into the bad. Right? So that means inclination, recollection also we can understand. If we recall only good things, that means we will become good. If we have only recollection of bad things, then it will be bad. Sometimes we just remember bad actions of other. We don't remember good actions of other. This is very, very bad, right? Then sometimes also we also remember our bad action. We don't remember our good action. We also have to recall our own good action. We may have more confidence. It's not for selfish, just for confidence. So if we can recall good actions, good minds, good attitudes, we can gain faith more.
Bante, one more question. Just now Bante said recollect the good things. After I offering, I recollect, then my offering happiness, then cannot sit properly. Very happy, the mind.
Okay. So that means okay, happiness is actually good things. This is the good happiness, not really big problem. Then sometimes too much happy also excited. Then one more thing, we have many other recollection. For example, sila, morality. We also have like a recollection of deva. Actually, deva is a unworthiness. Worthiness. Okay, I will give one example. Recollection of deva. Devadanusati. That one is, for example, I also have faith. Deva also have faith. So deva, all the deva were reborn in the deva lands because of their faith. Similarly, I also have faith. Just compare their faith with your faith. This is a recollection of deva. This means we have divine quality. We can recall that kind of divine quality. Similarly, morality. Deva also have morality and also have morality. This is a recollection of divine quality. Then, another one will be a little bit difficult for you. Sutta. Sutta means that is a Dhamma knowledge. Learning 1 Nikaya, 2 Nikaya, 3 Nikaya, 4 Nikaya, 5 Nikaya, like that. That kind of Dhamma knowledge. So, Deva also have the Dhamma knowledge and also have Dhamma knowledge, we can recall it. Then, Jaga, charity. Deva also have charity and also have charity. You can recall your divine quality. Then the last one, wisdom, especially inside knowledge. So you can recall it, your inside knowledge. You can also recall it, Deva inside knowledge. They also have that kind of power and also that kind of power. If you don't have that kind of qualification, don't recall. Only the qualification you have, you can recall. This means that kind of recollection is possible. It's not. This is also your own, but compare with other. Okay.
Bante, Bante can tell us briefly, because usually in Singaporean like to do dana. So can tell us briefly how to do a Jaganusati.
Okay. So in the case of Jaganusati, we have the one statement. For example, the first one is I live in a household life without any attachment to properties. That means when you offer, your hand must be open. If you grasp, you're gonna offer, right? Open. This means you don't have any. If you don't have any attachment to property, you can offer. If you already offered that kind of things, you can recall it. Without any attachment, I have already offered. This is the first thing, right? This means without stinginess, we live in the household life. This is one of the quality. We can recall it. Then another thing is Mutta Jaga. Mutta Jaga means freely offer. So you don't expect any return. free. Mind is very totally free. You don't want to be in the Devanas or anything. You don't expect any return. Free. Nibbana is okay, no problem. This is, you're not enjoy anything in Nibbana. Right? So we offer for some enjoyment. Expecting something. It's not really free. Freedom offering. Another thing is, we call in Bali Payata Pani. Payata Pani means wash hand. This means previous Asian time, when they're going to offer something, they wash their hands, then they offer. That's why wash hand. That means you have frequently offer. That's why you have to wash your hand every day, every night, for example. This means, okay, in brief, you have habitual or daily donation. So you can also recall your daily offering. Or maybe weekly offering, monthly offering also possible. We call it that kind of things. This also, we call it Payata Bani. I have a habit of that kind of offering. We call it. Okay? Another thing is the Dana Samvi Bhaga or door. Sorry, Yaja Yoga. Yaja Yoga means worthy of request. That means if you really offer, receiver will dare ask you to offer. That means, okay, let me, I will say what my teacher said when I was young. That means we cannot see people's faith or confidence, but we can see their behavior as a receiver. Huh? For example, although many people invite me, Bandi, if you need something, please ask me. I dare not ask. I can see, I can hear their voice, but I cannot see their mind. I don't have psychic power. Right? Another thing is, we have to wait until their behavior is very obvious. And this is the nature, right? That means, if many of receiver, they ask many things from you, that means you are very generous already. So that means if you have many relationships with many bhikkhus, many receiver, that means you can record the quality. I'm a worthy of request. Request association with receiver. You can record that kind of quality. Now that's the Dana Samvibhaga door. So how this means, okay, this one is especially arrangement. So you will arrange many things to offer this. For example, Singapore also offer umbrella every year, right? For example, that kind of things. So that means you arrange. Before offering, you have to arrange everything. How long you have to arrange? For example, you have to record all the things, all the actions. Then how many times you are happy? If you have many times happiness, okay, you can record that kind of dana. Then your proper arrangement or long time arrangements, better. This means you are happy with that kind of arrangement. Arrange this, arrange that, arrange that. Although you are busy, you are happy. So you can record that kind of things. Then this is also one of the quality, right? Okay. I don't know how many quality already. Okay, the first one is that without stinginess, you live, right? Another thing is freedom, donation. Doesn't mean you don't expect any return, anything for pleasure. Another thing is wash hands. This means you have it your offering every day, every week, every month, every year also possible. Have it your offering. Then another thing is Yaja Yoga, relationship with the receiver. Right? How many receiver you have a relationship. Then the last one is arrangement. You are happy with arrangements. Huh? So this means if you can have all these conditions, you can recall. Then if you can rejoice, this is also a kind of meditation. Okay? Yeah?
Assess concentration?
Yeah, that's also assess concentration. Yeah.
Any other questions? Later.
Huh? Okay, now.
Any other Dharma questions?
Okay, then.
Okay,
Bante, my hip is not very flexible. That's why it's very difficult for me to meditate very long.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I try to increase it slowly. But is there any way to make?
Okay, for the sitting on the chair.
I think if I sit on the cushion, I will have better concentration.
What about standing meditation?
Standing, I rarely do standing meditation.
So, standing meditation is also allowable. If you cannot sit, you can stand. You have to consider which one is better for you. Actually, some people, they have a habit of standing meditation. They also have good concentration. That's also possible. Or only lying down is not recommendable. It's too relaxed.
But is it beneficial? Maybe we do yoga or something, or
Also,
better focus on the meditation only.
So for exercise, okay, you can also exercise. You can do exercise, or you can also meditate. Even necessary, you can do exercise. So for about the posture, sitting or standing, you have a little bit better concentration. When you walk, because of movement, not that much good concentration. Okay, even if you're sitting on the chair or something like that, sitting on the cushion, sitting on the chair, which one's better? Somebody standing, which one's better? You can compare. You have to choose the best posture. Okay.